Shalom. To be a leader. How do you become a leader? In this week's Torah portion, Parashat Shemot, we'll learn how Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, becomes a leader. The Torah tells us that Moshe haya ro'eh, Moshe was a shepherd. The Ma'or Vashemesh, a commentary on the Torah, asks a question. Why in the world did all the Jewish leaders all become shepherds? What type of a job is that? Become the CEO of a big company. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the 12 tribes. Even King David was a shepherd. Moshe Rabbeinu was a shepherd. What's so special about a shepherd? The Ma'or Vashemesh answers, a shepherd works with his hands, not with his head. And therefore, his head is free to be able to think and contemplate on the greatness of God. And that's exactly what happened. Because on that famous day, on Mount Sinai, before it became Mount Sinai, and before God gave the Torah on this mountain, there was a little bush, a burning bush that wasn't being consumed. Everybody was too busy. The Midrash teaches us that for 7 days it was burning, but not being consumed. Everybody passed by. One was looking at his iPhone, the other one at his Google phone, at his Samsung. Each one had another occupation. The other one was camel pulling his kids to yeshiva, and everybody was busy. All jokes aside, people were too busy and caught up in a day-to-day life and just didn't notice that there's a phenomenon which is out of the ordinary. But one person. Who was that one person? Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses. Moshe haya ro'eh, he was a shepherd, so he had a free mind to think and to contemplate and ask himself questions. And that's exactly what he did. The Torah says, Asur hana ve'er'eh, he stepped back and he started looking and asking himself questions. And went deeper and deeper in his meditation till finally God reveals himself to Moses for the first time. This is going to be the time that God will ask him to go and liberate and free the Jewish people from exile. A little parenthesis. Moshe Rabbeinu was there for the first time before God. And God hesitated. You don't have a second chance to make a first impression. Should I reveal myself to him for the first time with the great voice of Sinai? Moshe, Moshe! And each time he comes to me, he will be trembling and full of fear. Or maybe I should reveal myself with the voice of a child. Moshe, Moshe. Just joking. And then Moshe Rabbeinu would not give the proper respect to God. What did God do? The Midrash says that God put his voice into the voice of Moshe's father, Amram. Moshe, Moshe. And this is the voice that Moshe heard. He understood that this was the voice of Hashem. As it says in the Chidah, many of the prophets, whenever God reveals himself to them, it's through the voice of the father or the teacher, through the face of the father or the face of the teacher. At this moment, God reveals himself to Moshe. What is the first thing God tells him? Take off your shoes. Like, Moshe, make yourself comfortable. Take a chill. No, that's not exactly what happened. He told them, take off your shoes. Because God saw that deep meditation that Moshe had and realized that the question Moshe had was more than just, why is the bush burning, not being consumed? Our sages teach us that rabbis and Torah scholars are compared to trees, fruit-bearing trees, while simple people are compared to bushes. Moshe Rabbeinu was looking at the bush and he saw that fire. He said, what? How is it possible that a simple people could have such a fire of love for God? I thought only people which are educated in Torah, Torah scholars can have that connection. To this, God tells him, take off your shoes. You see, the purpose of shoes is to protect you from being sensitive and feeling what's under your foot. So he said to Moshe, take off your shoes, become more sensitive, and you will see that every single Jew has that very special connection, that tremendous love and power inside of him. To this, God tells him, I'm going to order you. I'm going to send you on a mission to go and free the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu again has a question. When they ask me what your name is, what should I tell them? And God says, I was in this exile, and tell them I'll be in the exile to come with them. What type of an answer is that? You see, a name defines an individual. A name defines. And God has many, many names. God has the name of Kel, which represents the aspect of kindness. Elokim, which represents the aspect of severity. Amonai, which represents the aspect of mercy. Moshe Rabbeinu's question was much deeper. When they ask me, which exactly of your character traits, which of the names which represent a character trait of yours is the name that permits such suffering to happen? And to this, God says, none of them. I am with them in their suffering. And I will go out with them. And therefore we are one. Tell them that I feel their pain. Moshe Rabbeinu is a leader. Why is he a leader? Because he took the time to think and to stop and to ask himself questions. Today we live in a generation where everybody is so busy in their social networking, in their social life, in their Facebook, in their phones, in all of these plastic devices which are supposed to make our life easier. This is true slavery. When a person is not able to even think, that is slavery. And therefore the redemption starts the moment a Jew is able to stop and think. When is the last time you took some time to think about your connection with God, your connection with your soul, your potential, why you were brought to this world? This is what makes a great leader. To conclude, I'd like to conclude with a story that happened with a follower of the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, which once approached him and said, Rabbi, I've committed this and this sin. I would like to repair this sin which blemishes my soul. What should I do? The Tzemach Tzedek answered, for such a sin you would have to fast 300 days. As we know, one of the ways they used to atone for sins was to fast. Fast during the daytime, eat water and bread. At night, drink water and eat bread. So the Chassid, when he heard this response from the Tzemach Tzedek, became pale. The Tzemach Tzedek said to him in Yiddish, Was meinst du? What do you think? Du meinst das Fasten meint nicht essen. Do you think that I mean to say that you should not eat? That's not fasting for me. A true affliction is, the true fasting is, that jeder Nacht sollst trachten na lieber den Nafshe 15 Minuten. Every night you should take 15 minutes to think about where you're holding in life. What did you accomplish today? What could you have accomplished? And how tomorrow can be better than today. With this, the Chassid went on his journey of 300 days. Every night, taking that 15 minutes to think, what did I accomplish? What could I have accomplished? How tomorrow will be better? He came back after 300 days. The Tzemach Tzedek looked at him and said, not only did you repair your sin, but your soul is at a completely different level than it was before. So my friends, if you want to be free, if you want to become leaders, take the time off, disconnect yourself. Take the time to connect to you, to your soul, to your family, and live a really free life. Shabbat Shalom.